Pandas love bamboo. A lot of it. But how much is too much? How much milk do you give a baby leopard? What's the proper amount of greens for a 75-year-old, 500-pound tortoise? These are all questions for this man, Mike Maslanka. He's the Senior Animal Nutritionist for the National Zoo in Washington, D.C., and he's a rare breed. Only about 6 of 200 accredited zoos and aquariums nationwide have a nutritionist, and Maslanka is in charge of feeding some very exotic creatures.
It's a lot different than if we were feeding horses or cows.
He gets the daily diets out to the zoo's collection of nearly 2,000 animals. All of the meals for all of the residents at the National Zoo start here in the Commissary. It's where everything from anteaters to zebras get their breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Some eat salad, some eat mice, but the commissary crew is in charge of some very big and sometimes very finicky appetites.
We do have picky eaters, and that's fine.
When a diet is ready, it goes in a zoo-sized cookbook. All of the ingredients are measured down to the gram, and some of those ingredients may look familiar.
For the case of our bears, some of those are getting a commercial dog food. Bears are omnivores, and that's an appropriate diet for an omnivore.
For the more carnivorous residents, there's a special mix for them, too.
It's going to be a little noisy.
The meat mix is thawed in a room that's basically a giant refrigerator. Nothing in the so-called meat room goes to waste.
Some of the blood that ends up coming off, we'll end up freezing that into treats.
Blood treats?
Yes.
Then there's what Maslanka calls whole prey.
We're talking about rats, mice, of all those life stages, rabbits.
And boy, do reptiles love whole prey. So do the visitors.
When those animals are being fed, those end up being the exhibits that most of the visitors are standing in front of at the time to see that. That's running at about 19 below.
A super cold set of freezers keeps the mice, rabbits, squid, herring, and other perishables as fresh as possible. The produce has to be top-notch, too.
We don't take seconds. We don't take donations. All the produce that we use to include in these diets is restaurant grade.
The costs of keeping a well-fed zoo population?
Somewhere $750,000 for a year.
Finally, there's the question of what comes out.
We actually have scores for different piles of poop. That's based on photographs. What's coming out is telling us how that animal's processing that diet. It's telling us a lot about the moisture balance of that animal, how hydrated it might be.
From cutting up the veggies to checking on the poop, Maslanka and his crew keep these reptiles, felines, and primates smiling. Noel Waghorn, The Associated Press.